So, Michelle, I hear you have another book coming out and you seem very excited. Tell me about it.
I am so excited. I have been talking to different women all across the Americas about this topic. I've spoken on Single and Loving It mostly in a lot of different contexts, and it just has really felt like God's timing on bringing more people into this conversation and just really opening it up and realizing kind of what this is all about. It's such a topic that is not touched on a lot in our churches, and I really just feel like God has been inviting me to bring others more into this conversation.
So, why would you write a book about it?
Well, writing is kind of my way of processing anything, as many have come to learn. But in particular, so I was at this one church here in the U.S. in Tennessee, and the church there invited me to speak. Saturday we had a ladies' day. It was bilingual. It was awesome. Then that Sunday morning, I was invited to speak to all the women of the congregation of all ages and all different marital statuses, and I spoke on this topic of single and loving it mostly. And after the class, I had so many women of all of those ages. I had single and single again, which for me means either divorced, separated, or widowed. And I had married women and young teenagers. I had so many women come up to me afterwards and just want to talk more about it. They were asking where was that book on the table that we had of all of Iron Rose Sister Ministries resources. And it was that next step in just God urging me and reminding me that this was something that we really needed to be more intentional about. And for those of you that have heard that whole topic and title of Single and Loving It mostly, you may not recognize the title of the book because it did change a little bit. It's called One Single Reason, Conversations with Single Women. And that's because this conversation is not just one for single women, which I am, but also for single again women, married, and even inviting church leaders into this conversation. And so seeing that need, seeing this conversation that's not really happening, and just inviting others to the table of this conversation became so important to me and just really defined that why.
So, how did you do that? What was your process of bringing it all together?
Another great question. And it has been a journey. I started out because I've been hearing from so many different women over the years. I decided to more officially gather their input. So I put out a survey and 220 women responded, and single or single again. And I was compiling basically 3 different voices. I was, of course, researching into scripture, and we want to seek God and make sure he's seated at the head of the table. And then I wanted to include my own voice and some of my own stories, but then also that third voice is other women's stories. And then inviting others to the table, others into the conversation, and being able to bring all of that together cohesively has been through a lot of prayer, through a lot of women and other volunteers who have worked together to just bring this project to life and to a place that God has really been guiding it and blessing it. And I love to see how he has brought it all together. And so it was time to go ahead and put all of that together, combine those different voices, and put it in the form of a book so that everybody could see and understand and be invited to be a part of that conversation.
Awesome. Is there anything else I need to know?
Well, you probably want to know how to get a copy. And one of the best ways is to go to our website and to ironrosesister.com and find out more of the information, because it's not going to be just this book. We're going to have it in different formats. We're going to have a lot of different ways in which you can share some of these resources with others and invite them into the conversation as well. And I would love to just sit down with a cup of coffee and converse with each and every one of you about it. So I hope this is just the start of an ongoing and never-ending conversation. And I hope we can be a part of inviting others to the conversation, always seating God at the head of the table. So thanks so much for asking. And if anybody else has any other questions, we invite those as well. So reach out to us at ironrosesister.com, and thanks so much for joining the conversation. One single reason.